viewers across the country and all over the world. This is Health Digest, a program that takes a look at health issues around the world. I'm Colin Sonyonyi in Nairobi, but first, a look at our major stories of the day.
The rate of female genital mutilation among girls has registered huge and significant decline across most parts of Africa. This is according to a new analysis published in the British Medical Journal. The fastest drop is reported in the East Africa, where the practice is common. Somalia, for example, 98% of women between the ages of 15 and 49 have been cut according to UN figures. High blood pressure, smoking and diabetes raise a woman's risk of heart attack more than they will do to a man. A study published in the British Medical states that the rate of heart attacks in men remains 3 times higher than women, but smoking, diabetes and high blood pressure are highly linked to heart attacks in women. Finally, as the HIV and AIDS epidemic continues to hit more young people world over, and particularly in Africa, the government of Kenya has rolled out an HIV home testing kit. The kit allows one to self-test in the convenience of their home and target sexually active age group.
So, the story on HIV self-test brings us to our discussion of the day. How easy or hard is it to self-test? How comfortable are you with self-testing at the comfort of your bedroom? How do you deal with the aftermath shock, finding out, for example, you're HIV positive? We're going to be talking on the same with my panel in a short while. So currently, it is estimated that only 75% of people living with HIV know their status. And for that reason, countries are looking for ways to rapidly increase uptake of HIV testing services, especially those with low access. And one of the approaches is HIV self-testing, where a person collects his specimen, blood or fluid, for example, and then performs an HIV test and interprets the result in a private setting, either alone or someone he or she trusts. 59 countries have so far adopted the HIV self-test approach, while others are currently developing the same. 25% of people living with HIV are yet to be diagnosed. So, is HIV self-test a good approach? Would you rather prefer a self-test at home or a visit to a VCT center? Share with us at Health Digest using the hashtag HIV self-test. Remember, you can also share the discussion by tweeting us at Health Digest using the hashtag HIV self-test. And let's interact and let's share the ideas. But now let's take a look at the opinions of Kenyans on whether they will be willing to self-test or rather walk in a VCT center for HIV self-test.
Mimi hupenda sana hii mambo ya kujipima HIV and AIDS, na naonaga ni vizuri. Kwanza mtu ukijipima OC ndio inakuwa poa, kwa sababu uanga unakanseliwa kwanza, alafu unaepa zile vitu kama mtu saa zingine anaweza stuka, mambo kama hayo. So mimi na prefer kupima hospitali, alafu ndio kitoka hapo unakuwa unajua status yako.
Mimi nimepimwa mara kadhaa na niliona hii issue ya kupimwa kwa kama asini kama kwa hosi, hiyo kitu sidhani kama ina make sense. Juu sasa unaenda pale unapata kila mtu anakuangalia, unaona. Hasa mimi hii issue ya kupimwa naona at least kupimwa kwa nyumba kuliko hosi. Juu unapata vijana wengi wanashuku wakienda pale, juu wanakopa tafanywa wataangaliwa, unaona. Hata watachukelewa na wenzao.
Ninge prefer kutest hospitali, kwa sababu ukienda hospitali utakuta kuna daktari anafanya hiyo kitu in a specialized way. Lakini kwa nyumba maybe hauna maarifa ya kutosha, utatest maybe hauko positive, utakuta umechukua the wrong thing, unashikwa na stigma bure, unaanza kufanya sarakasi si ya kawaida. Maybe hata utakuta wengine wanajiua bure, anajihang pale juu alikuta niko positive. Anaanza kuchukiana chuki kwa nyumba, maybe mume wake atasema mume ndiye alimletea hiyo ugonjwa kwa sababu ako kwa nyumba na ako faithful. Lakini kwa hospitali atapata counseling ya kutosha kutoka kwa madaktari na wote, kwa sababu ukimwi si mwisho wa maisha. Kuna magonjwa mingi. Sasa haiwezi kuwa ati ukimwi ndio itafanya mkosane ama nini. Watu wako na ukimwi na wanaishi vizuri. Lakini kitu mzuri, siwezi prefer kutest kwa nyumba. Iko na changamoto mingi. Negative side iko mingi kuliko positive. Sasa ni vizuri ningeprefer kwenda hospitali.
And now I'm joined by our correspondent Victor Nzoveri, who is on the ground, of course, sorting the views of Kenyans on whether they will be willing to self-test or rather go to a VCT center. Victor, what are Kenyans saying?
Thank you, Collins. We've been on the ground and we have mixed reactions on. Some people prefer doing it from the comfort of their house. We have those ones that prefer doing it from the hospital. But if you ask me, I would prefer doing it at the comfort of my house. Back to you, Collins.
Thank you so much, Victor, for the insight. We appreciate it. So allow me to introduce the panel of the day. I have Linora Obara. Linora Obara is a counselor with Women Fighting HIV and AIDS, an ungovernmental organization in Nairobi. I also have Esther Juma. Esther Juma, of course, is a nurse by profession. And lastly, I have Mr. Muridhi Waruiru. Mr. Muridhi Waruiru is a laboratory technician. Let me start with you, Esther Juma. Esther, what is your take on HIV self-test? And will you advise someone to self-test at home or rather come to your place for a test in the laboratory, that is? Esther?
Okay, thank you, Colin. According to me, I prefer hospital testing than self-testing because when it comes to HIV, it's not an easy thing to take. And I don't think that it's good for someone to test in the house. Reason being, in the hospital, one of the major things is counseling, because despite the results, counseling is the one and main thing that any patient undergoing a HIV test have to go. And in the house, I don't think if someone can counsel himself or herself, and even after the results, there is counseling. And when this person is alone in the house, they are in a position to do anything, not being in a better position and good reasoning or good state of mind to know what exactly to do after the results turn positive. So I think it's safer for the people to test from the hospital for the safety of the person testing and also for the safety of the patient and the society in general.
Let me bring in Mr. Muridhi Waruiru. Mr. Muridhi Waruiru, of course, you are a laboratory technician. You have conducted HIV tests before. What would you advise someone? Of course, you understand the post-test reaction. What would you advise someone? Will you advise someone to test at home or rather come to your place in the laboratory for a test?
So Collins, I would advise the patients to take the test in hospital to avoid self-testing, to avoid shock and the rest. You don't know the outcome of the results. So let them come to hospital, be tested, and then after being tested, they can know what to do. Maybe when the outcomes are positive, they can be sent to CCC, that's Comprehensive Care Center, and from there they'll be told what to do.
And lastly, we have Mrs. Linora Obara. Linora, you have dealt with a lot of HIV cases in the community, and a lot of people living with HIV unaware of their status. What is your assessment? Is HIV self-test one of the approaches, one of the ways to manage HIV/AIDS, and what is your take on the whole issue?
I'd say self-test is a good thing for the community to embrace. However, there are people who really fear to know their HIV status. Some don't want to queue at the health facilities. Others fear that when they know their status, they'll die very fast. Some people still have myths around HIV testing and uptake of services. Others think if they know their status, they'll die very fast. Some women some married women sometimes think if they know their status, then they'll be separated from their husbands or even divorced, as in cases where we have discovered couples who really fear for their upkeep, or maybe the woman is not working, they don't have resources, so they'd rather not know their status. but just live like that. But as a counselor, a person who has worked in the community and in the area of HIV programming for over 15 years, I feel that self-testing is good, because one, then somebody will know their status within their own environment, and they are able to cope with the results. And of course, we are told that after an individual takes a test, it's advisable for them to go for a confirmatory. This finds them stable emotionally. It saves time, it is cheap. Then we avoid these issues of saying that we don't have reagents at the health facilities. We have stockouts for testing kits. So I think it's a good way of people, knowing their status and managing their life in terms of health.
And what about the shock that may come, especially with no counselor around, you are alone in the bedroom? What about that shock? How do you manage that shock?
For oral HIV or self-testing, there's one initiative that is very important. This is community sensitization on the use of the oral kits. And once the community is sensitized, then the issue of shock can be mitigated. The issue of people committing suicide then will go down. Because again, some people can misuse this kind of service. For example, young people find out a young man, forcing maybe the girlfriend to test because of one or two reasons. So if there's that sensitization, that awareness, and of course linkage to the nearest health facilities. If people are advised that after taking the test, they should go to the nearest health facilities for further counseling and management, then this can be a good thing. And another, I did not outline an advantage of HIV test in scenarios where health facilities are far to reach, like in places in Migori, in Homa Bay. Then this oral, the self-test becomes handy, and somebody goes to a facility when they are sure of their status, and then it saves time for them to be managed. So in short, it is a good initiative, but it only needs this other support: community engagement, referral, and counselor support.
Well, thank you so much, you all, for your insights. We really, really appreciate. Indeed, it is important for everyone to know their HIV status. It will help you to plan your life accordingly and also to protect those you love. Choosing whether to have it at the comfort of your bedroom or rather visit a health center for a test is a personal decision, but normally the counselors at any health center will serve a great deal in providing you with the mental support you need just in case it turns out you're positive. But at the end of it all, the bottom line is that we all should strive to at least know our HIV status. Remember, the discussion goes on at Health Digest using the hashtag HIV self-test. And remember to subscribe on our YouTube channel to stay connected. I'm Collins Wanyonyi. Bye-bye.